Did Luis Hamilton expose Ferrari from within? His radio message wasn't an outburst. It was a declaration of war against a system he claims is sabotaging his legacy. Is the seven-time champion about to break with the Scuderia prematurely? On June 4, 2025, the world of Formula One was shaken once again. Not by a race, but by an unexpected moment captured on the radio between Luis Hamilton and his engineer. What began as a routine practice session quickly turned into a viral sensation, as Hamilton's explosive words over the team radio revealed a side of him rarely seen by fans and rivals alike. In the midst of intense preparation and technical adjustments, Hamilton's sharp critique and provocative tone broke the usual calm and polished communication expected at this level. Observers were stunned by the raw emotion and blunt honesty in his message, sparking widespread debate about the dynamics within his own team. Was this a simple expression of frustration or a calculated psychological tactic aimed at pushing his engineer and the entire squad to new limits? The incident exposed not only the pressures faced by drivers behind the scenes, but also highlighted Hamilton's relentless desire for perfection, even if it means shaking up the established order. As insiders reveal more about what led to this fiery exchange, questions arise about the true state of harmony within the team and how such moments might affect their future strategies and performance. The explosive radio exchange between Luis Hamilton and his engineer has sent shockwaves through the paddock and beyond, revealing a side of the sport that is often hidden from public view. Far from the glitz and glamour of podium celebrations, these behind-the-scenes moments unveil the intense psychological battles and mounting pressure that drivers endure daily. Hamilton's words were not merely a passing frustration. They reflected a deep-seated demand for excellence and a no-compromise attitude towards his craft. Sources close to the team suggest that this outburst was triggered by a series of technical difficulties and miscommunications during testing, which Hamilton perceived as avoidable errors undermining his confidence in the car's performance. The timing of the message was critical, occurring during a session designed to fine-tune setups and strategies, underscoring the high stakes involved even outside of race day. Experts argue that this candid moment sheds light on the evolving relationship between drivers and engineers, where trust and precise communication are paramount, but can easily fracture under pressure. Moreover, Hamilton's outspoken nature challenges the traditional norms of team hierarchy and decorum, suggesting that his leadership style may be more confrontational than previously understood. This incident invites a broader discussion about the mental resilience required in Formula One and how internal conflicts can simultaneously hinder and fuel a team's pursuit of success. As the story unfolds, fans and analysts alike are left to wonder: will this provocative stance galvanize the team towards greater achievements, or will it expose deeper rifts that could jeopardize their competitive edge? Delving deeper into the context of Luis Hamilton's explosive radio message, it becomes clear that this incident is not just an isolated moment of frustration, but rather a symptom of underlying tensions that have been simmering within the team for some time. Sources familiar with the internal dynamics reveal that communication breakdowns between Hamilton and his engineering staff have been escalating, fueled by differing perspectives on car setup and performance priorities. Hamilton, known for his relentless pursuit of perfection, demands immediate and precise responses to any issues he detects, which sometimes clashes with the more methodical and cautious approach favored by his engineers. This clash is exacerbated by the immense pressure placed on the team to innovate rapidly amidst a fiercely competitive Formula One landscape, where every tenth of a second can define legacies. Interestingly, Hamilton's candidness over the radio also highlights a shift in the driver-engineer relationship, moving away from traditional, respectful exchanges to more raw and transparent communication styles. While some insiders believe this openness can foster better problem-solving and trust in the long run, others worry that public airing of frustrations might undermine team morale and unity. Additionally, this episode has drawn attention to the mental toll that continuous high-stakes performance demands take on drivers, a factor often overlooked by fans and commentators alike. Sports psychologists emphasize that the ability to manage stress and maintain composure under such conditions is as critical as physical fitness or technical skill. Hamilton's outburst, therefore, serves as a stark reminder of the human element in this highly mechanized and technical sport. As this story continues to unfold, many are watching closely to see whether the team can harness this tension constructively, or if it will widen the fissures within their ranks, potentially altering the course of their season and even the future direction of their program. The ramifications of Luis Hamilton's provocative radio message extend beyond the immediate moment of tension, revealing a complex web of technical challenges and strategic dilemmas faced by his team. Behind the scenes, the engineering department has been grappling with inconsistencies in the car's performance, particularly in adapting to the evolving aerodynamic regulations introduced this season. These technical hurdles have forced Hamilton and his engineers into a constant cycle of testing and tweaking, sometimes resulting in conflicting assessments of the car's behavior on track. Hamilton's sharp criticisms during radio communications underscore his impatience with the slow pace of progress, but they also highlight the immense burden placed on the engineers who must balance innovation with reliability. Furthermore, there is growing speculation within the paddock that this friction has sparked a deeper philosophical divide regarding the team's developmental approach. While some engineers advocate for incremental improvements based on data analysis and simulation, others, possibly influenced by Hamilton's aggressive stance, push for bolder, riskier upgrades that could either yield significant gains or catastrophic failures. This internal debate is compounded by the relentless media scrutiny, with every snippet of radio chatter dissected by pundits and fans eager to read into potential rifts. Interestingly, Hamilton's behavior can also be interpreted as a strategic maneuver, leveraging his public frustration to accelerate decision-making and resource allocation within the team hierarchy. By making his dissatisfaction so evident, he effectively puts pressure on team management to prioritize solutions that address his concerns, ensuring that his voice remains central in shaping the car's development trajectory. However, this approach carries inherent risks, as alienating key technical personnel or disrupting team cohesion could backfire, resulting in diminished performance on the track. The situation also sheds light on the evolving role of a Formula One driver in the modern era. No longer just a pilot of the car, but an influential figure whose feedback and leadership style significantly impact the engineering process and team culture. As the season progresses, observers will be keenly watching whether Lewis Hamilton's explosive radio message marks a turning point towards renewed collaboration and success, or if it signals deeper troubles that could undermine the team's ambitions. Delving deeper into the aftermath of Lewis Hamilton's explosive radio exchange reveals the intricate dynamics at play within the team's technical and leadership structures. The tension broadcast live to millions not only exposed the pressures inherent in the sport, but also illuminated the delicate balance between driver input and engineering judgment. Behind the scenes, senior engineers faced a dilemma: how to effectively respond to Hamilton's vocal dissatisfaction without compromising their own expertise or morale. This scenario underscores a broader, often unseen, aspect of Formula One operations, where technical innovation must coexist with interpersonal management and strategic alignment. Sources close to the team hint at spirited discussions in the engineering department, where some members argue that Hamilton's approach, while blunt, serves as a catalyst for urgently needed changes, while others feel it risks alienating vital contributors who prefer a more measured, data-driven methodology. Additionally, this friction has coincided with increasing scrutiny from the team principal and higher management, who are demanding results amid escalating competition. This pressure cooker environment magnifies every decision, every adjustment, and every communication, transforming the team's garage into a high-stakes battleground. Importantly, Hamilton's radio outburst should not be dismissed merely as frustration. It reflects his deep understanding of the car's potential and limitations, coupled with a burning desire to extract every ounce of performance. Such intensity is a double-edged sword, motivating rapid innovation but also risking burnout or fractured relationships if not carefully managed. Moreover, the ripple effects extend beyond the immediate team, influencing rival squads and the wider Formula One community, where strategic debates about driver-engineer relations and communication styles are gaining prominence. As the technical regulations continue to evolve, the ability of teams to integrate driver feedback effectively could become a defining factor in their success or failure. Ultimately, this episode with Lewis Hamilton shines a light on the human element behind the machinery, revealing that at the highest level of motorsport, success hinges not only on speed and technology but equally on trust, respect, and collaboration within the team. The unfolding saga around Lewis Hamilton's incendiary radio message continues to cast a long shadow over the team's internal dynamics, with ramifications that extend far beyond the immediate moment of conflict. As insiders reveal, the incident has sparked a profound reassessment of communication protocols and leadership styles within the team's hierarchy. The technical staff, usually operating behind the scenes in relative calm, now find themselves navigating a new landscape where driver feedback is not only more direct but also laden with emotional intensity. This shift has necessitated a reevaluation of how engineers engage with their star driver, balancing the need for precise, data-driven responses with the imperative to maintain a constructive dialogue that fuels performance improvements rather than discord. More strikingly, the tension exemplified by Hamilton's radio remarks highlights the broader challenge of managing high-performance personalities within a team sport environment, where egos, ambitions, and the relentless pursuit of victory can sometimes clash with the collaborative ethos required for success. Team insiders disclose that the leadership has convened multiple strategy sessions, aiming to develop a framework that mitigates such conflicts in the future, fostering a culture of transparency and mutual respect. Moreover, this episode has ignited debate among experts and fans alike about the evolving role of the driver, not merely as a pilot of machinery, but as a pivotal contributor to technical development, whose insights must be integrated seamlessly into engineering workflows. The wider industry is watching closely, aware that the ability to harness such driver-engineer synergy could prove decisive in a sport where marginal gains dictate championship outcomes. Beyond the technical and interpersonal implications, the incident has also brought to light the psychological pressures endured by drivers at the pinnacle of motorsport. Hamilton's frustration, while stark, is symptomatic of the intense mental and emotional demands placed on athletes who operate under constant scrutiny, high expectations, and the unrelenting quest for perfection. Sports psychologists suggest that teams must prioritize mental resilience programs alongside physical and technical preparation, recognizing that a driver's mindset profoundly impacts on-track performance. As the narrative unfolds, it becomes evident that Hamilton's explosive communication is but one facet of a complex interplay between human factors and mechanical precision, a dynamic that defines modern Formula One. In the end, this episode serves as a potent reminder that behind the glamorous exterior lies a world of relentless pressure, where every word, gesture, and decision can ripple through the delicate fabric of team unity and competitive success. What has truly deepened the controversy surrounding the explosive message from Luis Hamilton is not just the words themselves, but the timing and what they may reveal about fractures within the team's internal structure. Just weeks before the message was broadcasted, there had already been murmurs in the paddock about Hamilton's growing dissatisfaction with the way technical feedback was being filtered by his engineering team. According to a source close to the situation, Hamilton had requested a series of changes in setup strategy that were reportedly ignored or delayed due to hierarchical communication bottlenecks within the squad. This context now paints his radio outburst not as a sudden flare-up, but as the culmination of long-standing frustration that had been building over time. Some observers have drawn parallels between this episode and earlier chapters of Hamilton's career, particularly his final seasons at Mercedes, where similar tensions flared with his previous race engineer before management intervened to mediate. But the most unsettling question being asked behind closed doors is whether Hamilton's trust in his current engineering team has been fundamentally damaged. In Formula One, where every millisecond counts and the margin for error is razor-thin, trust between a driver and their engineer is not just helpful, it is essential. Without it, communication degrades, performance suffers, and critical decisions become clouded by doubt and hesitation. Several former drivers, including names like Damon Gill and Pedro de la Rosa, have publicly remarked that a breakdown in the engineer-driver relationship can be a turning point in a driver's season, or even their career. This has led to growing speculation over whether Hamilton may begin pushing for personnel changes behind the scenes, or for greater control over technical decisions that affect him directly. While the team has made public efforts to downplay the tension, insisting that emotions run high in competitive settings and that the matter is closed, body language and subtle shifts in communication styles during interviews tell another story. This is no ordinary disagreement. It is a signal that beneath the polished PR, something more structural, and possibly more serious, is simmering. As the dust begins to settle around the explosive radio message from Luis Hamilton, the silence from the team's senior leadership has become just as deafening as the outburst itself. Notably absent from any meaningful public comment is the figure of Federico Bassier, the team principal who has often positioned himself as the bridge between the engineering core and the drivers. Bassier's evasiveness in recent press engagements, offering rehearsed lines about unity and working as a family, has only fueled the belief that the incident exposed more than just a moment of heated emotion. According to insiders with knowledge of the situation, the message Hamilton delivered was not only directed at his race engineer, but symbolically aimed at an entire structure that he perceives as outdated, inflexible, and dangerously complacent. This criticism aligns with broader concerns that have been voiced by other drivers in hushed tones over the years, especially those who have moved through the Ferrari system and later spoken of internal communication barriers and political hierarchy that stifled innovation and responsiveness. One particularly revealing clue emerged during a post-session debrief, where an anonymous source claims Hamilton confronted a group of engineers about ignoring his tire degradation data during the test simulations. What should have been a simple technical correction escalated into a heated debate, allegedly culminating in Hamilton leaving the room before the debrief ended. This type of behavior is highly unusual for a driver who, despite his intensity on track, is known for his calm, methodical approach behind the scenes. When even someone as composed and media-savvy as Hamilton begins acting outside character, it is often because private frustrations have reached a boiling point. Several members of the Italian press have already speculated that the message could be a strategic play, meant to publicly test how much control Hamilton actually holds within the organization. After all, he joined Ferrari not just to chase wins, but to shape the team around his vision, much like he did during his most dominant years at Mercedes. And if that vision is now being challenged or obstructed from within, the political battle may only just be beginning. What we are witnessing may very well be a turning point in the balance of power inside the Scuderia. A star driver with a legacy to protect, a race engineer whose authority is being questioned, and a leadership group walking a tightrope between appeasing a legend and maintaining institutional order. The implications go beyond strategy calls or data disagreements. They touch on identity, autonomy, and control within one of the most storied teams in motorsport history. If the team mishandles this conflict, they risk alienating their most valuable asset. But if they concede too much control, they may spark internal fractures that could destabilize the entire structure. Either way, this message was not just explosive. It was a warning shot, and the paddock is watching very, very closely.